Okay, I thought I'd do a little video on my Genericode software and a problem I ran into the other day. I had a 1978 Corvette that the customer locked the keys in the trunk. It was a convertible, or no, it was locked in the car, but it was a convertible, or T-tops on it. 1978 Corvette with the T-tops. And this thing was cherry. It had 16,000 original miles. So I really didn't want to stick a car opening tool in the door. I was going to pick the lock. And I remembered, because I've been doing locksmithing since '88 on my Genericode software, it tells you what direction to pick the lock. So I decided to pull it up, and I'll show you what I found. So I go to Vehicles. And I've opened these before, and I've looked up this information. We'll go down to Chevrolet. We're going to go over to, let's see, go down to Corvette. And then we're going to go to year. Okay, 2000. Now this is actually a little bit older version of Genericode. I got a newer one on the van. And this software goes down to 1993. Now the one on my van only went to 95. And the problem is, now the codes for the older vehicles are in here, but let's say we click 93. Well, they have opening instructions, opening information. And if you click on opening information, it's going to tell you picking direction. Now this one on 93, it says unknown. Code locations on ignition lock. Okay. So there is code locations. You can go what tool to use, and it gives you the measurements of tool if you want to use it, and it also shows you the linkage mechanism inside the door. Now this is kind of crude, but at least it's information that we could use. But it's no good for 1978. But you know, I'm thinking back through my memory. I'm like, I know I looked this up on Genericode before. So I went down to my basement of my shop and I pulled out this ancient relic. This is a DOS base. This is when I first bought Genericode software. This is a compact computer. And if we go on here, it was like 20 disks you would have to load into this thing. And to load it up, you LLCD, enter. Okay. So that's how it comes up, wants to know the code. Well, we don't know the code, so we're just going to hit enter. And it comes up with a menu. Okay. So we're going to hit Vehicles. 2. We're going to go down to Chevrolet, enter, and then we're going to go down to Corvette. Oh, there we go. Corvette, enter. Well, look, this computer goes all the way back to 1977 to 2000. Now, this is an old system. Okay, so we're going to go, I think it was a 78 Corvette I was doing. So 78. Oh, and then door opening instructions. Okay. And then we're going to hit door. You can hit F1 for door. Boy, that's pretty similar graphics. But it does tell us which way to pick it. So you're picking passenger side door clockwise. So this is great information to know. Now we could go link it. We could go look at linkage, look at door linkage if you're going to use a tool. But my big qualm is if they already had this information, because I run into these older cars because people collect them, they lose the keys, they lock them. My biggest qualm is if they have this information, and we're locksmiths, we're not like car dealers. So why don't they incorporate it into their newer version of the software? So then I'm thinking, okay, you know, maybe it's somewhere else on here, and I can't find it. So transponder, vehicle. Okay, we'll close this. Let's go to vehicle again. We're going to go to Chevrolet. Not Chevette. Corvette. And we'll let's pick any year. Okay. But it doesn't give us any options now on here. So it's like they erase it after so many years. Let's go back here and see how many years this goes back. Now this is updated to 2016, this software. The one on my locksmith van is the newest version. So 2003 or 1993 to 2016. So I guess they just figure that's as many years as we need. But then the other day I did a Buick Skylark that was in 1970. These cars are starting to become collector's items. People are, and that one was locked in the trunk. So it would have been nice to know which way to pick the trunk lock on that one, or what tool to use to open it, or any of this random information you want to know. Let's see, we go to door, opening information. Just so you can see the layout of it. Door opening information. They haven't really changed their graphics too much in like 30 years. So that's a 78. And that's a 2006. Let's see. Code locations unknown. Picking direction counterclockwise. See, this is counterclockwise. We'll go to tool. What tool to use to open this? And this says lock picks, linkage, and it's telling you how to release the lock. But so basically, they're telling you don't use a tool on this car. You're gonna have to pick it. Okay. So, anyways, this is great. Even though their graphics suck, it doesn't matter to us. We just want the information. And my big qualm, I'm going to call Freeman today and just ask them why they're not incorporating the old information with the new. Or maybe if they are, I'm going to do another review saying, hey, it's in a different spot in the computer. But anyways, I thought I'd just do a review on the old. Sorry about this thing. This literally was in my basement for probably 15 years. And I'm surprised the thing even fired up. And it was funny, these old computers, they just kept lasting and lasting. Where these new computers, every like 4 or 5 years the thing crashes. You got to buy a new computer, update it. These old ones, they were DOS based. They just didn't die. There's no viruses on them or anything. They never hooked to the internet. But this is what I used to do, just so anybody knows. In my old locksmith vans, I would have these docking stations, and I'd bolt these docking stations down, and they would have a hard drive in them and the power supply, and guys could take the computers in and out, and they just snapped into these docking stations, and there's a key on the side that lock it into the docking station. So I'd have these bolted down on the counter on the locksmith van. And then prior to this, when I first got started, I didn't have this software. We had code books in the locksmith vans. So that's a little blast from the past, if anybody wants to see some old technology. Now, I used to have all the floppy disks in this nice, it looked like a code book with all the floppy disks in it. And, it was like maybe like 30 floppies. Not floppies, they were like the 2 1/4 or whatever they were, hard floppies. And you would put disk 1 in, it would load it, then you'd put disk 2 in, and you load the software in. A little screensaver. That you load the software in there, and then, but maybe about 5 years ago, I sold that whole set of software on, I probably shouldn't have, it's probably a collector's item, but I sold it on eBay. But my old computer still has the old software in it back from 1980. Or I think this was last updated in 1990. Or no, this goes all the way to 2000. So this software was last updated in this computer 18 years ago. But it goes all the way back to 1970. I mean, the software keeps records back into the 70s. So, anyways, I just thought I'd do a little review. I am going to call Freeman. Not that anything I say is going to make them update their software and put this old information back into it. But, I just want to explain to them that as locksmiths, we run into these old cars that are collector's items, and this information would be nice to know, because I like the Freeman product. I like their software. It's very simple to use. It's easy to train my guys